Okay. Alright, I'll do what I can. Here we are on Daybreak yet again for the SC2C.com GPD number 60. This time it is going to be a Zerg versus Terran at the top right hand side in orange, the cool color. It is ToRRizzisk. Hope I'm getting that right. Someone will eventually just come along and their name will be John and Frank and just make it easy for me. But he's going to be up against the Terran down in the bottom left hand side. In the red, it is BlaZe. What brand? They are, I believe they're Mossimo. Apparently this is like an interesting brand or something like that. Of course, I don't know this shit, so... Anyway, while we're waiting for this to get interesting, of course, make sure you jump onto youtube.com/duckfieldlol and you can subscribe to my channel, and also onto facebook.com/duckfieldlolsc2. Got a nice little Facebook page there. Post all sorts of stuff about StarCraft 2, like articles and pictures and links and blah blah blah, all that kind of cool stuff. Yeah, so. ToRRizzisk, I think this is... I've been playing a lot of Terran lately. Don't know if anyone knows about that. I played yesterday in the Bronze, Silver, Gold tournament on SC2C and actually came, I think, 5th or something like that. Yeah, so that was a bit of fun. But ToRRizzisk, of course, the Terran will have a lot of fun on this map because it is quite easy to secure the natural expand. You can put a few bunkers up and wall off if you so desire. You can also take this base as your third, or the base back at the sort of further back position as your third. It's sort of dependent on how safe you want to be or how you play. Of course, if you go for it like a quicker sort of like a planetary here at this position, it can be quite easily defended. However, it can also quite easily be attacked by things such as the Broodlords when they come across to this sort of position here and just start laying down on you. So it really depends. But BlaZe looks as if he is going to go for a one-racks expand, takes down the drone that was inside and is going to head out. May even catch the Overlord. No, he's not actually aware that there could be an Overlord here. Normally, you'll see an Overlord stop around here or down sort of in this position here, and of course you do sometimes see them get on top of this nice little this sexy little block. I don't know, I call that the Overlord podium because they just stand up there and you can't actually see them at all. Even if you have a unit on the ground here, you can't actually see that, which I think is ludicrous, but oh well. It's you know, good for Zerg, for scouting and that kind of stuff. But BlaZe did get inside ToRRizzisk's base and saw that the pool went up around about 16, I believe that was. We can see that the hatchery down at the Nat is also done. A couple of lings popping out. Queen's also on the way. And yeah, things looking pretty standard. Looks as if he is going to go for the no gas style. Going to forego taking the extractors for a little bit longer. Of course, normally you wait till it's sort of about the mid to high 30s on your supply for taking the extractors, but I don't know, he could do it a little bit differently. Meanwhile, BlaZe is picking up a bunker over here. He's going to make sure that everything is safe. Command center just about done. The factory also on the way, and a reactor. So he is going to... Yeah, I know. Apparently, my glasses is the topic of the day. Let's forego the StarCraft and just talk about my glasses. I take them off, but then I can't see. Well, I can, but I don't like seeing without them. I don't know. That's really weird. But SCV's transferring down to the natural. Bunker completes. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Is ToRRizzisk going to sort of head across and take his third base pretty quickly, or is he going to perhaps try something off the start of just one base here? He has picked up both of those extractors. We are up to 45 supply, so looking pretty good here. And he takes a third one as well with the Evo chamber also coming up. So the thing, you kind of you need to be prepared for those Hellions, which normally do come out of the Terrans these days. Even after the Queen range buff, there are still ways that you can be a little bit annoying as a Terran with with the Hellions, because of course you can sit off the edge of the creep and attack the tumors as they try and spread out further. But these days, of course, as we see with how many queens have we got? We got 4 queens out. We may see him even go up to sort of 5, possibly 6. And just sort of make sure that this whole area is very well covered by the queens, because of course if those Hellions get inside and start roasting up the drones, you're in a world of pain. So, but looking at what ToRRizzisk can see, he hasn't actually sort of scouted in just yet. He'll want to sort of head in there in just a moment, because then he'll be able to follow up on exactly what BlaZe is doing. And it looks as if BlaZe is going to head out with 4 of these Hellions, going to clear out the watchtowers. That's one thing he certainly can establish his dominance over. The watchtowers here, 2 more Hellions actually being made, and he is going to get a Banshee. So he's going to go with this sort of standard Hellion Banshee style, where you sort of come out with the Hellions. If you saw IEM Vortex versus 4GG, you would have seen 4GG doing this style. He does it quite a lot, and it's a nice safe style to open up, because as I said, you're protected quite nicely against a lot of Lings or Banes and that kind of stuff. And then once the Banshee pops out, and she'll be on the way very soon. Well, she's just about done. That'll be able to take care of some roaches and perhaps get some of these drones down as well. Now we can see that ToRRizzisk is up to 43 drones. He's got a lot of larvae sitting around. I'm not exactly sure what the plan here is, but he is switching into the lairs, so perhaps just saving a little bit up. We got a macro hatch on the way. It's interesting to see that he is getting that macro hatch as well as well, I suppose the 3rd hatch down at the 3rd base, but he hasn't actually seen that the 3rd is going up for BlaZe as well, so that's a little bit interesting. And I'm very interested to see what BlaZe is going to do, because he's still just sitting on the 1 factory, of course the 1 racks and the starport as well. But here goes the Banshee. She's just going to head inside, get a little bit of view of what's going on. Going to morph in a couple of overseers as well, just to make sure that any sort of cloak shenanigans aren't able to do too much damage. Catches 1 drone, may get a 2nd, and there's the cloak. Does pick that up, and he's going to take down, maybe get a couple more drones, but the overseer does float through. A 2nd queen also coming across, and that'll be the end of that Banshee for now, as we see a spore goes down. Probably another one in the nat will go down as well, just to make sure that everything is hunky-dory. Yeah, so that's just sort of standard sort of openings for the games, for ToRRizzisk, I suppose you could say, is to see that this sort of harassment where you try and get a little bit of map dominance and then poke around with a Banshee and see if you can do anything cool with it. There is going to be a 2nd Banshee coming across from BlaZe. He might be able to get a little bit of damage done across here. Perhaps if he can take down these creep tumors, that would be quite nice for him. He's going to pick up 1 and a 2nd at least, possibly the 3rd. 1, 2. There you go. Takes down the 3rd creep tumor. Quite nice, but the Banshee is not being controlled at all. There you go. Does cloak, but unfortunately the Queens can already see Overseer sitting here in a perfect position, and the Hellions a little bit caught out there by the massive number of Lings. We've got 52 Lings out on the map already, and BlaZe has got, wow, he's actually got a whole heap of Hellions still. He's got 10 Hellions here, and it looks as if he is going to need to get them up to the 3rd base, because the attack is now coming through. Lings sweeping across the plane. Are they going to be able to get across and take the command center? They're not, because BlaZe is well aware of what's going on, and I have a very interesting feeling that BlaZe is going to go for a mech style here. A man after my own heart, but the Hellions do generally escape. A couple of them go down. The command center is going to land, probably switch into a planetary, but yes, it is. Look at that. We got a couple of extra factories here, bringing out a Thor, a tank, and as you can see, the BlaZe, did that get spotted? He spotted one of the factories, so ToRRizzisk, I don't think is totally aware of what's going on just yet, but what he does need to do is perhaps get a Roach Warren, because of course Roaches are quite nice against mech if you can use them in drops and that kind of thing. You got to really abuse the immobility of mech, as we'll see, and I really like that BlaZe has added that Raven there to the mix. That is quite nice. So worker count sitting at 51. 51. Switching into the Hive. I think ToRRizzisk really needs to grab some more drones before he starts getting into this higher tech here. He does have the infestation pit, of course. We're allowing him to switch into the Hive, but 52 drones perhaps not the greatest sort of number for this kind of thing, because he does need to get some more gas if he wants to grab those higher tech Zerg units. So keep that number 51 in mind, because that could be a big signal of what's to come. Because of course, if there comes a point when a Zerg can get sort of stuck on that sort of around about that 50 number, and it's quite annoying for them to deal with if they have a very low economy. But looks as if, given that BlaZe is going to go for a mech style here, I would like to see him whack on a couple more factories though, before he gets too hardcore into this. And he is grabbing +1 to mech, armor, and weapons. Very nice to see. He's also picked up a starport to make sure that he can crank out a few Vikings if need be. But ToRRizzisk, there he is. He's fixed it up a bit. He's up to 60 drones, a few more, and he should be looking pretty. Grabbing these extra gas would be nice as well. But interesting to see. And well, is that another Banshee? Yes, it is. The Banshee from before, she's going to pop through, say hello to some of these drones, picks up 1, maybe 2 kills there, and then has to float off to the natural expand, decloaking there. You don't have to decloak. Decloak actually takes up a bit of energy as well, so sometimes it's actually just better to leave the cloak on. But BlaZe is sitting here quite nicely on 84 SCVs. That is quite a large amount. He's going to have to get rid of some of those very soon, just to make sure that he has enough room for his mech. We're now up to 5 factories, looking very nice here. Needs to whack on a couple of those tech labs to make sure he can get the units out. But we have a lot of banelings. 23 banelings morphing in to add to the already ample clutch of 11 banelings that are out, and now BlaZe moving out. I don't like this. I'm not a fan of this move out here. He did get blue flame. Yes, he did get blue flame. It was a little bit later than I would have liked, but he is starting to move out. He was going to try and have a quick look around this base. Does ToRRizzisk, is he aware of this? Yes, he is. He certainly is now. He's losing some of these creep chimmers here. So I think if ToRRizzisk actually just heads straight into battle here, he should be able to take this down. There isn't actually really too much to deal with, and the banelings getting inside, splitting up. Interestingly, you don't get to say this too often, but the tank and Hellion split from BlaZe kept most of his stuff alive there, given what could have happened. Normally you see a mech army sort of clump up quite a lot, but now BlaZe has got a little bit of trouble at his third base, but those Hellions should be able to take care of that. A couple of tanks also coming along to the party, and things, well, now we really should see ToRRizzisk sort of start to switch into the anti-mech mode, which does comprise of, you would really like to see him get rid of these banelings. Is it going to do realistically not too much? Once the tanks get set up properly, Thors just eat banelings for breakfast. And yeah, I would really like to see this sort of this heavy baneling ling thing sort of come to an end very soon. Perhaps set up some traps if you want. Maybe if he can catch some of these Hellions in a baneling landmine, that would be quite nice. But I suppose the one good thing about sticking with that style early is that he's already getting his +3 to melee and carapace, which means that when the Ultralisk come along, and yes, that is 2 infestation pits. Hello there. Once he gets the Ultralisk with Cavern, which is on the way, halfway done here, the Ultralisk will be quite nice. However, he's just got to be careful of his angle of engagement, because tanks will just chew through the Ultralisk if they're nicely spaced. And as we can see, wow, just more links now popping out. We'll have to see how that fares for ToRRizzisk. Meanwhile, for BlaZe, he's still on 1-1 for his upgrades. He is only just now picking up 2-2, grabbing a couple of Vikings as well to make sure that any possible air counters are dealt with swiftly, and 5 Ultralisks are also on the way. So ToRRizzisk is getting those big boys up, the hippopotamus, the elephants, whatever you want to call them, of Zerg, and it looks as if this big swarm of units is just going to try and poke around the side here. I'm not really sure what's going to happen. This could be quite interesting. Yeah, he does get the Lings and the Banelings out, because this army, whilst not the, I don't know, where's the rest of his army? This cannot be 200 right here. How many Hellions have we got? Alright, so we got these 2 Banshees. We got 1 Banshee up in the corner here, another one just across to the side. Oh, and of course the rest of his army is 90 supply of SCVs. Alright, so BlaZe needs to get rid of some of these SCVs. I would say he needs to drop at least maybe 30 to 40 of those SCVs. He is slowly marching his way across the creep, and here come the Hellions. They're going to soak up some of the damage. Retreating with the Hellions, not perhaps the best idea. Could have used them to soak up some of the damage of the Banes, and the Ultras now just walking through. They're going to chew through everything with their almost 3-3 and their extra armor just about to pop up, and that has put BlaZe in a bit of a troublesome spot now that he's only got these 2 tanks to defend. The SCV's coming out to try and soak up some of the damage, but with a cleave from the Ultralisk, ToRRizzisk is just going to tear through the rest of this. We'll probably see him remax on Lings and Ultras, and in fact he has already done that. He's got some of those just sitting out here, and I think this game is going to come to an end very soon. The one unfortunate part which I could certainly sympathize with is that the mech army does not come quickly. If the phrase Rome wasn't built in a day was ever intended for StarCraft, it's for a mech army, because it is not ever built in a day. Because these, as we can see, the Ultras are getting chewed up in that very tight choke point there. But okay, ToRRizzisk, you can probably head back right about now. Yeah, there he goes. He's going to head back. But as I was saying, mech army, as we can see here, Thor's taking 60 in-game seconds. The tanks, which he doesn't actually have yet, are also take quite a bit of time. And SCV is getting ripped apart here. I do like that BlaZe's SCV count has gone down to 42, but unfortunately it's not in the way that he would have actually intended. What you would have wanted was to have a few orbital commands out, along with quite a lot of these Thors to deal with this very big Zerg army that's approaching, and then start to slowly sacrifice some of those SCVs later on. So ToRRizzisk in a pretty commanding position right here. However, with these Thors starting to come out in greater number and 2-2 done for them, things could turn around. Let's not count BlaZe out just yet. He's got this middle base here. He's on these sort of three-ish bases, but with these Ultras and the Banelings now threatening from the top side of the map, this could get very dicey in just a second. Because even so, as I said, even though the Thors will eat the Banes for breakfast, if they're clumped up like this, as you may have seen in GSL, they will still, and I'm referring to a game between Nestea and someone, Banes will still take down Thors, especially when they're clumped up like this. And now BlaZe is unaware that his foe is sitting up at this top position here, and I'm sure ToRRizzisk is ready to go, and here he goes. He's just going to head straight in. This base is not long for this world. He's not even sure where to go because of what's going on, and here come the Thor army. The Hellions coming across to the front there, and the Ultras now just starting to chew up the rest of that. The Banes rolling through, going to take down the Thors, and that should be it here for BlaZe. He has lost, he has dealt with quite a lot of the Ultralisk, and in fact only 2 remain, but I still think that he's lost way too much to actually sort of capitalize on this position here. He's down to 21 SCVs. He's only got 2 orbital commands. If he had a couple more, he may be able to drop down some mules and even things out. But as we stand, he's already got quite a lot of minerals, but the problem is he actually has no gas at all. So he's trying to get some more tanks out, trying to get 3-3 as well. The cost of the 3-3 obviously a big burden on him, considering the gas that he's had to deal with. And as we can see, researching +2 to the flyer attacks. So we may see ToRRizzisk switch around to perhaps a little bit of a more air-focused style. But for the moment, yeah, and actually there it is, the Corruptor's now on the way as well. So he is going to sort of mix things up. Once you get the Ultralisk out, once you get a few of those Broodlords out as well, it actually gets very difficult to deal with that sort of army. But BlaZe, he's not going to give up just yet. He's going to head down to the 4th base down the bottom here. He's going to roast up some of these drones. They are lining up quite nicely for him. Heads behind the mineral line so that the pokies of the spine crawlers can't get him, but too late. Ling's already inside there and doing a lot of damage, and now BlaZe again with this sort of sub 200 army that you would really want to try and go for. Is trying to head up here. The Ling's getting absolutely annihilated here, but Ultralisk heading in from the side. Thors should be able to deal with these, but there are so many Ultras now surrounding BlaZe, and he's going to go down, you could say, in a blaze of fire. And that is... Well, I know I've said this a few times, but it's very interesting to see that this game is still going. But ToRRizzisk is trying to get this done. He's going to send in these Ultras. He's, in fact, I'm not even sure he meant to sort of send those in. But BlaZe is still sitting on an income of 700 minerals and 200 gas. 200 gas is just not really enough to supply a mech army, and he is getting a few Vikings out, which is going to help to deal with the Broodlords which are coming, which I'm sure are coming. There's somewhere. Oh, here they are. The Broodlords which are coming. There are going to be 4 in total. We're just still sort of waiting for ToRRizzisk to commit to an attack here. He's just making sure that his economy is in a nice spot. He's sitting on that 70 drones, which is quite nice. More Ultras going to join the party. They've got their 5-3 on their upgrades. And as we'll see, he'll probably just start to head in just a sec. Yeah, I was going to say he might want to grab the rest of those Broodlords there, and then he should be pretty fine to head in. There's only 5 Vikings just at the moment. However, they do find that the Broodlords are pretty much unprotected right now. Corruptor goes down straight away. We don't have any upgrades on these Vikings yet, but the Broodlords do have +2 on their attack. So while they stay alive, they're going to be doing quite a lot of damage. In fact, only sending 2 of those in. The mech army is doing a nice job taking the Ultralisk down, but as we said, it's still just unfortunately not going to be enough. And as we can see, ToRRizzisk is just going to head inside. It looks as if he is going to try and take down the rest of the SCVs. The few remaining SCVs that BlaZe has left, where in fact, actually the Broodlords got taken out. That's quite interesting. But ToRRizzisk denies this base yet again. He could probably head across here and deal with this one quite easily, but I would think he might want to go for the production facilities. If he can chew through the supply depots and then get inside, he might be fine. And there he is. BlaZe, it was a pretty good effort considering what he had, but and sort of the style that he used, but unfortunately I think just a little too heavy on the SCVs and not enough of the orbital commands to really help out with boosting the mineral income, and there is a GG well played from BlaZe. Unfortunately, not able to keep up with that Zerg army that was marching across the map. And there you go. Mech against Zerg is pretty good. He stayed alive considering there was wave after wave of Zerg units that were coming across, and that was, you know, that was a very valiant effort, you could say, from BlaZe, but unfortunately just not able to keep up. I think, yeah, the key issue would have been when he moved out, when he had 90 SCVs. I'm pretty sure it was 9. Was it 90 or 80? Maybe it was 80. Moved out with 80 SCVs. Don't really want to do that, and he only had like five tanks or so, a bunch of Hellions, which was nice, and then a couple of Thors. But if you're going to go up against someone who's sticking with quite a lot of those Lings and Banes, you kind of need to add either a few more Hellions or a lot more tanks to the mix. So